samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grinanti naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Word for translation. Vashamsi, garments. Jirnani, old and worn out. Yatha, just as. Vihaya, giving up. Navani, new garments. Grinati, does accept. Naraha, a man. Aparani, others. Tatha, in the same way. Sharirani, bodies. Vihaya, giving up. Jirnani, old and useless. Anyani, different. Samyati, verily accepts. Navani, new sets. Tehi, the embodied. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, translation. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Please repeat after me. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Purport. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse, 2.13. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the Supersoul. The Supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas like the Mundaka Upanishad as well as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad compare the soul and the Supersoul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is a servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing its position from one tree to another or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as a supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad in 3.1.2 and Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.7 confirm this. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno anit sayasochati bhuya manaha chustam yada pashyati antyam anyam isham asya mahimanam iti vita shoka. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Tap Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauramani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So 222 Vashamsi Jinani Yatha Vihaya Navani Grinati Naroparani Tata Sharirani Vihaya Jinani Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. So in this verse, Krishna is giving us a very, very nice analogy. I don't know how many of you have ever been, but if you've ever been, when somebody has passed away and then they have this ceremony called Uttamnu and the Pratana that they do, especially in Shiv temple in Mombasa and like in town. When they are doing this Uttamnu, they always speak this verse. They will always speak this 2:22. They will say it, but now let us try to understand it, what it actually means. So this verse, Krishna is giving an analogy about the relationship between the body and the soul. And this analogy is such a perfect analogy because there are a lot of points that we can understand from this one analogy about so many truths of life. So the analogy is very simple, that as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So before we go into this, let us just recap what was Krishna trying to share in the previous one. So in the previous shlok in 21, he says, O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? And so Prabhupada writes in that purport that everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. So if we can remember, so far Krishna has chastised Arjuna by calling him a fool, that you are speaking like a learned man, but actually you are no better than a fool, because if you are really learned, then you will not be speaking such things, nor would you become bewildered and full of lamentation on the fact that you will have to fight your elders and your relatives on this battlefield. Why? Because he is not aware of this supreme science of the soul. So here Prabhupada writes in a very nice thing that everything has its proper utility, and at this moment, what are we trying to see? What object are we trying to evaluate here? We are at the battlefield setting, and of course at the battlefield setting there is going to be violence. Yeah, there is going to be death. So even violence has its right utility. If you understand why you need violence at times, because some people are not going to be able to ever become better. So at the last moment you need to employ violence to set people straight. So this is so when people say that, oh, the Gita is only a book of violence. No, not only a book of violence. It is utilizing violence in its proper utility, not indiscriminately. Yeah. Or on the other side, they said, oh, because it is a book of violence, we only follow non-violence. There is no principle of no violence in this Gita. No, the principle of ahimsa actually is also causing a lot of himsa. Prabhuji explains this in the Gita, in later chapters, that what is the actual meaning of the word non-violence. What is the actual meaning of the word non-violence is that you are uplifting another person from their conditioned state with the help of spiritual knowledge. If you are not able to do that, then you're committing violence to that person, because you're not helping him to uplift himself. So actually non-violence means to share the knowledge of the Gita, to share spiritual principles, to understand things as they are, to understand things as they are. Nowadays the world is full of people who are blind. They don't understand the reality. They don't understand things as they are. They try to make sense of things as they are, but we don't even know ourselves perfectly. So how are we going to make any right decision? As it is said that a human body is full of is got 4 defects. The first defect is that our senses are imperfect. So we cannot even utilize our senses to come to like the right conclusions, right? Then even if our senses are imperfect, we think that they are perfect. So we start to make research, and our research is based on faulty equipment. So even the results will become faulty. Then with that faulty, we try to showcase that actually no, we are right. So we cheat others. We cheat others that, oh, what I have researched, what I have understood, that is right. And so what's happening is that you are just cheating the people. And all of this increases the web of illusion that, oh, we are getting to get more and more knowledge, more and more knowledge. And this is a known fact. If you look at what you are taught in school all these years back and what is being taught in school now, the knowledge is completely different. Yeah, even in certain times the knowledge gets outdated as fast as 4 years or 5 years. Yeah? Even between siblings, one sibling has learned something in biology when they were in standard 8, and then when the younger sibling comes to standard 8, they learn something different because the knowledge has been updated. But there is no limit to how much updating that this knowledge can happen, because what is happening is that your premise, your basis of understanding is based on what? The faulty or imperfect senses. So no matter how much improvement you do, you will never get to the ultimate. You will only get to higher and higher levels of relative knowledge. You will never get to the absolute knowledge. If you want absolute knowledge, you must go to the person who is free from these 4 defects. And the only person that is free from all these 4 defects are Krishna himself, or the Lord, or his representatives, who only discuss and teach only to the limits to what the Lord has said. They do not add anything to it, nor do they subtract anything from it. They deliver the message as it is. So either you learn proper knowledge through the Lord or through his bona fide representatives. Okay. So in the previous verse, so Krishna says that everything has its proper utility, and therefore man in complete knowledge knows how to utilize things in its proper utility. And in the purport, Prabhupada has given many examples, like there is a need for capital punishment. Why is the need of capital punishment? Is because if somebody has committed a very sinful activity like murder, if he atones or he is given the reaction in this very life of giving up his life in return for committing a murder, by the king, then he will not have to suffer in the future for his sinful activities, because he's already gotten the reaction. So capital punishment in those days was actually a blessing for the sinful committer of activities, because he would be forgiven, or he would have gotten his reaction there and then. Similarly, like there's another example, that a judge orders a person or the executioner to kill an offender. So whose fault is it? Is it the judge's fault? Is it the executioner's fault? Or is it the person who's committed the crime? Whose fault is it? The person who's committed the crime. The judge and the executioner are just following the law books. So they are not going to get any reaction from ordering that a criminal be hanged or criminal be executed. No, it's the criminal's fault that because he did that action, he is now facing the reaction of his action. Similarly, there is another example that was given, that when a person is, say, he's suffering from gangrene, and so his leg is infected, then to stop the infection from going forward and infecting the entire body, a person would actually go to the doctor and get his own leg amputated. But we in normal circumstances, we would not want to do that. No one in their right mind will want to get themselves amputated. But because they can see that this is for a greater cause, there is a benefit for me to amputate my own leg. It's better then they'll actually go pay money to the doctor to get it amputated. Yes. So this thing comes from the broader understanding that this is actually beneficial for me in the long run. Even if in the short term it's going to be very painful, it's going to be beneficial to me in the long term. So this is how some examples have been given, just to illustrate the point that everything has to be understood in its proper utility. Even something like a war, if it is fought for religious principles, then that war is a proper war. Not like the wars that we are used to seeing. Oh, there's this war between this country and that country, or war between like the World War I, World War II, the Cold War. Those are not right wars. Those are not wars that are granted in the scriptures. Wars were meant to be fought on religious grounds. Yeah, in the past, what would happen in the Vedic times, that a country or a kingdom will only fight with another kingdom if they can see that the citizens of one kingdom is not following the aim of life, if they are not following the purpose of life, to give them the right direction, to give them the ultimate pathway to utilize the human form of life in the best way, they would conquer that kingdom that was going against going against dharma. So the kingdom that was supporting dharma would actually do this so that they could give a chance to the citizens of the adharmic state to not waste their valuable human life. And we'll understand how valuable this human life is. It's just one species out of 8.4 million species that has the capability to understand what is the aim of life. Yeah? No other species will be able to have such advanced intellect and consciousness to understand what is the purpose and aim of life. It's only in the human form of life that we can understand this. You can put the Gita in front of a dog or a cat, but they will not be able to understand anything in that. It's only a human being that will be able to benefit from such literature. Right? So in this case, violence can also be used in the proper utility when ordered by Krishna, who is the source of all knowledge. As we said, we have to understand everything in its proper utility, and that means you must have proper knowledge. You must have proper knowledge. And for you to have proper knowledge, it all starts with spiritual knowledge. And spiritual knowledge, the fountainhead, the source of all of that is Krishna himself. He is the supreme authority. So if he is the one who is ordering Arjuna to fight, then it is automatically the law. It is automatically right. There is no possibility of sinful reaction. That's what Prabhupada is written in the last line of text number 21. So now we understand this verse in connection. So this verse is so important because Krishna is trying to uplift Arjuna's despondency here. Arjuna is feeling so down that he has to kill Bhishma and Dronacharya, his grandsire and his dear spiritual master. So Krishna is trying to give it a positive spin, in the sense that, look, this killing of the body is not a hard or difficult objective. If you think about the fact that when you give up this body, then you get a newer body. And Dronacharya and Bhishma, they were quite aged. So you are just becoming an instrument for them to give up their old bodies, and then they would get newer bodies in the future. So you're not killing them. You're just giving them an opportunity to get a newer body. And if you think that why am I doing this? But think about it. Bhishma and Dronacharya have led very pious lives. So they will definitely get a better body than they're currently having one. So there is no loss in this way, because we'll see later on in the Gita that by the good deeds or by the law of karma, the more you perform good deeds, the better birth or body you get. Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse that says that by performing good deeds, you get a body which is either good birth, meaning you get high birth, good parentage, or you get a lot of opulence, or you get a lot of beauty, or you get a lot of intellect. All these four are symptoms of you having performed good deeds in your past life. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna that don't worry, if you think that they are going to be degraded, don't think so, because they are going to get promoted for sure. Then he says that this change of body, like think of it as being what dress will you get in the future. So in this case, for Dronacharya and Bhishma, because they have spent their lifetimes doing a lot of spiritual activity and they've done a lot of bhakti, they will also get a spiritual body at the end of it, and that is what we're all looking for. So it's a very win-win situation. And even if for some reason they might not get it, but they will still get a very good body, and a body from a whole line of 8.4 different types. And that 8.4 different types, the body that we get is based on two things: what is our desire and what is our budget. So this desire means what is our consciousness, and if you're hankering after something for such a long time, that desire Krishna fulfills in the next life. And our budget is what is in our karmic bank balance. So like for example, if you're going from here to Nairobi, we have the desire to go to Nairobi, but how much are our pockets loaded? So if it's very loaded, you can go by flight. If it is less loaded, you can go by train. If it is even less, maybe by car. Even less, then cycle all the way. And completely nothing, then you have your feet to walk all the way to Nairobi. So depending on our budget, we get our particular type of mode of transport, or we get a particular type of body. depending on our karmic reactions and also our desire. So in this verse also, Prabhupada makes a very nice point here, that modern science understands that the source of energy is from the heart. We cannot explain it, but we understand that this is because of the soul. The soul is located in the heart region, and even in the Gita there are two different verses that Krishna uses to establish this fact. The first verse he gives is in 15:15, where he says, Sarvasya chaham hridya shani visto. So, Sarvasya chaham hridaya shani visto. And the other verse that he uses is Ishvara sarva bhutanam, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridaya deshe arjuna tishtati. That the Lord is everywhere, but he also resides in the heart as the super soul. And this is a very important point, because many people think that, oh, it's only the soul. But Prabhupada in this verse makes it very clear that a person is only moving from one body to another body under the grace of the super soul. He is the one who is holding accountable all your desires. He is the observer, he is the witness. He sees what have you been desiring throughout your life and what have you been performing throughout your life. So he is the one who knows what your desire is and what is your karmic bank balance, and accordingly he gives you permission to go to another body to live out your desires. And Prabhupada quotes two Upanishads where the same example has been given, that there is two birds. One bird is trying to enjoy the fruits of the tree, and next to that bird is another bird. That bird is just waiting for this bird to look towards him, because if he just looks towards him, then this bird will find true satisfaction. He will not be wasting out his time in anxiety, in moroseness, as Prabhupada has written here, in trying to find pleasure. If he just turns a bit, he will find pleasure in the relationship with the fellow bird. Now, what is the relationship with these two birds? Is that, okay, yes, they're both birds, so they're both of the same quality, but one is still the master and one is still the subordinate. We are always going to be subordinate to the Lord. Okay? And he says that the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. So we are trying so much to extract happiness in this body, but all that we do is, in our attempts to extract happiness in this body, we are wearing out the body. Yeah, we have four things that we do: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. The more that we try to exploit happiness through these four avenues, the faster we will deteriorate our body. And this increases our anxiety, because imagine how much we are trying to get happiness, but this happiness is of a temporary nature. And if it's a temporary nature and it's getting worn out faster and faster, it's causing a lot of anxiety, it's causing a lot of moroseness. And we are trying to do this so much, but we don't realize how this embodiment is so unnatural for us. Death is not something anyone looks forward to. It's a very unnatural feeling for us, because we are in fact eternal souls, as is already been described in the previous verses. That this situation is like a round nut and a square peg. It's never going to fit. No matter how much you try, it is never going to work. We are always trying to find enjoyment that is increasing in nature, and is eternal, is constant. But we find that death is that one thing that brings a stop, and you feel like, what am I doing? Like, what's happening? What is happening? And we are always thinking about what is the aim of life. Another point that comes out in this example is very nice, is that a cloth is cut according to the body. This cloth I have right now, what determined that it should be of this form? What determined that it should be have this much length, that this much cutting, and what determined that? The body determines the cloth. So if the cloth has a form, it has a form based on something that also has a form. So this analogy also helps to understand the fact that the soul is not an impersonal entity. Because the soul has a form, that is why the body has a form, right? So this also cuts down that argument of the soul being like a impersonal force, living force. No, it is actually a living entity which has its own form. It has its own senses. The pure senses are spiritual senses. Pure senses are when our senses are utilized in service to the super soul or to the Lord. When you are utilizing the senses, the pure senses, in service to the Lord, then you have a spiritual body and you are serving the Lord in the spiritual world. But when you start to think that these senses are for my own enjoyment, then Krishna has given us 8.4 million types of bodies with different gradations of sensory limit. Like for us, when I was learning in school, our ears have a hearing range of around 20 to 20,000 hertz. Yeah, 20,000 hertz. But a dog has a higher capacity to hear sound. So a sound which is higher than 20,000 hertz, you cannot hear it in a human ear. But in a dog's ear, you can go up to 40,000. So they have got a better hearing capacity than we have, right? There are so many different examples of different creatures having senses which have a greater capacity than a human being. But the only thing with a human being is that our intellect and consciousness is the highest and the most refined, that we can understand these matters. In other forms of life, we will not be able to understand it. So this analogy also points to the fact that we as a soul have a form, and with that form we have a body, and a spiritual body, and we also have our pure senses that are meant to be utilized in service to the Lord. Because we cannot say that, oh, this cloth just came out to be by chance. No, that is a very illogical argument. Yeah, the only logical argument is that the fact that the clothes have a form is because the body has a form. But what happens is we identify with the cloth. We identify so much with the cloth and don't realize it that we forget to look after the body itself. Yeah, imagine if you have a car and you just keep on cleaning the car and all that, but forget to put fuel or feed the driver of the car. What's going to happen? That driver is going to starve and will not be able to drive the car at all. So this is another example has been given, that this is like cage polishing civilization. We are making the bird cage very nicely polished, but we are forgetting to feed the bird inside the cage. And what is the point of that civilization? So this analogy that's given by Krishna is such a powerful analogy to understand the relationship between us souls and our machine that we are currently occupying, because this body is compared to be a machine. Krishna says this in the 18th chapter, that this body is like a machine that has been given by the material nature according to my instructions, under my directions. Again it says, because Krishna says that I am the super soul, I can see what is your desire, I can see what are your karmic bank balance, and depending on that I direct the material nature to award you or award the soul a particular body that it wants to enjoy. And imagine the Lord is just sitting there, he is just waiting like that bird, he is waiting for that moment when this other bird will stop trying to find enjoyment in the fruits of the tree and trying to just turn towards him. And this bird will be like, okay, I have eaten here, but now I wish to eat here. So he will keep on moving between one branch to another branch to another branch to another branch. And the super soul is flying alongside with that bird along throughout the entire journey, just waiting for that one opportunity where the eating bird will look towards the friend bird. And only when that happens, and how can that happen, is when the eating bird understands that there is nothing to be enjoyed from these endeavors of trying to exploit happiness from this eating of this tree. I am only getting anxiety, I am only getting moroseness, I am only getting frustration. Until that time comes, then only will the bird try to move its head or beak away from the fruits and towards the friend bird. So even I think there is another very nice analogy that's given in the Bhagavatam, that there was once a man, and the man was being chased by a mad elephant, and so this man got up on a tree. He found a tree and he got on top of the tree, and now he was hanging. And now underneath the tree there was like a river. It was a river bank. It was on a river bank. The tree was on the river bank, and there's a elephant that is running after the man. He climbs the tree, he gets onto the branches and he's hanging. Now his feet are dangling over the water. Now in the water there are crocodiles, and there is a elephant waiting on the bank. So now danger here, danger down here. And then he sees that now there are two squirrels, one black and one white. They are nibbling off the branch that he is hanging off from. So he is like, it's only a matter of time that the squirrels will nibble off the entire branch and I will fall down into the mouths of the crocodiles. And then at that moment, in despair, he is crying out, and then from the top a drop of honey falls into his mouth, because on top of that branch that he was hanging from there was a beehive, and very, very nice honey was being produced by the bees. And so when he tasted that drop of honey in his mouth, he forgot all about the fact that there is a crocodile down there is an elephant down on the side, and there are two squirrels that are nibbling off on the branch, and he is trying to lick more of that honey, oblivious of the fact that he is going to be devoured very soon. So he tries very hard to reach up to the beehive. But what happens is that if there is a beehive, there are definitely going to be what? Bees. Now the bees are seeing this man trying to get the honey, so they are stinging him. So now he is getting even much more of a hurt, or he is getting a lot of hurt. But he is so captivated by the taste of that honey that he is willing to take all the stings, and he is oblivious of the fact that death is approaching him, and he is trying his hardest to get that one more drop of honey. And this analogy or this story perfectly encapsulates our material existence. Yeah, we are being driven by a mad elephant, Then is death waiting for us like crocodile jaws. The two squirrels, one black, one white, represents the days and nights passing by, nibbling away at our lifetime. We try to get so much happiness by tasting honey, but again we are being always stung by bees. Nothing comes easy. There's so much hardship that you have to go through to just even taste one drop. And then when we try it and we face and we get that one drop, we think that we have got everything. We forget all the struggles that we had put in to get that one drop of honey. And one drop, what is going to happen in the one drop? Nothing is going to happen. So even you get to the highest achievements of material career or material achievements, it will only last very fleetingly, like one drop of honey. And then what happens is eventually the branch will be nibbled off. You will fall down into the mouth of the crocodile. So this is material existence. This is like the tree, like the bird that is trying to find happiness in the fruits, which is very, very little, very dry. Only if we can move our head from the fruit of a tree towards the front bird, which is the super soul, then only will we get complete happiness. Happiness to the fullest satisfaction. And so this purport is very nice. The purport is written to explain the position of where we are. This body is just like an old dress. Yeah, we get a new dress and we like it and we wear it, and then so what happens? Then it gets torn. You fix it. So you get some fracture or you get something. You go to the doctor. You repair it. You come back out. But then what happens? The more you wear that cloth, the more and more it will get worn out. It will come to a time where this cloth is not fit to be worn. It's fit to become a pocha. It's fit to become like a cleaning cloth. You just discard it and you get a new one. Similarly, this body is like a cloth in the sense that we enjoy it, we utilize it, but then when it is old and weary, then it is of no use for the soul. The soul will think it's too much upkeep to repair, keep on repairing. Might as well get a new cloth. Yeah? We have experience of it. We sometimes have such a favorite shirt, and then after wearing it so many times has been torn here, torn there, torn here, and then you'll try to repair it. Then what happens is the cost of repairing is more than getting a new one. So at that time you're like, okay, there's no point in repairing this. Might as well get a new one. Similarly, this body, once it's gone past its useful utility, then the soul will be like, I cannot keep on repairing this. It's better that we try and go to another newer body where I can enjoy more. Because the enjoyment spirit of the soul is eternal. Because the soul itself is eternal. It's Satchit Ananda. It is eternal. It is full of consciousness and it is blissful. It's always searching for Ananda. It is always searching for happiness. And right now we are looking at it in the wrong place. We are looking for the right thing in the wrong place. It's only when we start to look at it at the right place. And the only way we get to know the direction of where the right place is if you understand the messages of the Gita. Okay? Anyone has any questions? Any comments? Yes?
I think after repairing so many times, it is so painful to get a new soul.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Mm.
You go on repairing, but the pain that comes with it.
Yeah.
You realize that. You go on repairing, you will get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why then you get a new body, so that you can try again and again to try and exploit the fruits of this material body that's been given to you through the senses. But it's like It's like that one example that Prabhupada keeps on saying. It's like you've had sugarcane juice. So the first time the sugarcane goes through that machine, the juice comes out. And then you eat that sugarcane juice, the stalk that's gone already once through the machine. You will not get so much taste. You put it out for a second time, and then you again eat the stalk. You get even less, and you put it a third, fourth, fifth time. After the sixth or seventh time, you're trying to eat the sugar cane, but there is no taste in it. And we try to find taste in it. This is the reality. We are trying to find taste in a sugarcane that has already been dried off. That is the situation that we find ourselves in. That's why Prabhupada says this is known as chewing the chewed. You have done this in so many different bodies in the past, and we are still doing it now, and we're going to keep on doing it in the future until and unless we understand this analogy perfectly. Until and unless we understand this analogy perfectly, we will keep on making the same mistake again and again. Yes? Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.